Hello and welcome back to World 360. International diplomacy appears to be in overdrive, especially if we look at the US and the E3 group, which includes France, Germany and the UK. The US and E3 have two big fish on their plates this week, attempting to avert a Russia-NATO clash over Ukraine and also trying to salvage the Iran nuclear deal. Let's look at the first. About 1 lakh Russian troops have been amassed on the Ukraine border. The US and E3 fear Russia will invade Ukraine, while Russia fears Ukraine will join NATO, and that alliance might try to recapture Crimea. On Monday, a number of summit meetings were held to try to come to a peaceful compromise on the crisis over Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow, while the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz headed to the White House to meet US President Joe Biden. Putin and Macron's meeting appeared to be substantive, with the former saying it is quite possible to move forward on some of Macron's proposals. Now, the meeting between the German Chancellor and Biden was viewed as an opportunity for both sides to show a united front. It's no secret that a major gas pipeline is a sticking point between the US and Germany as they try to navigate the Ukraine crisis. In short, the US has threatened to bring an end, quote-unquote, to a major pipeline connecting Russia and Germany known as Nord Stream 2 if Russia invades Ukraine. Keep in mind that the EU gets 41% of its gas from Russia and is currently reeling under soaring gas prices. But if we look at the joint statement from the German Chancellor and Biden following their meeting, one line stands out in particular. The leaders discussed ongoing diplomatic and deterrence efforts in response to Russia's continued military buildup on Ukraine's borders, reaffirmed their support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and reiterated their commitment to preventing Russia from using energy as a weapon, read the statement. Meanwhile, UK PM Boris Johnson, who visited Ukraine last week for talks with the country's president, wrote a sharply worded article for the British daily The Times on Monday. In it, he warned that the UK is prepared to deploy Royal Marines, RAF Typhoons, and Royal Navy warships to Eastern Europe. For now, all eyes are on the US and the E3 to ensure that the crisis in Ukraine is handled via dialogue and diplomacy, else a major war with human cost is on the cards. Let's look at the second big issue that the US and the E3 are juggling this week. Iran and the world powers party to its 2015 nuclear deal are entering the final stage of talks for reviving this very deal. To quickly sum up, the Iran nuclear deal in 2015 came out after world powers learned that Iran had a stockpile large enough to create 8 to 10 bombs, despite Tehran insisting its nuclear program is entirely peaceful. Finally, in July 2015, Iran and several world powers, including the US, Germany, France, UK, China, and Russia, signed the deal, also known as the JCPOA, which placed major restrictions on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for relief sanctions. But in 2018, the Trump administration withdrew from the deal, prompting Iran to begin breaching the deal's nuclear restrictions. Biden, since coming into power, has been doing everything he can to salvage this nuclear deal. German Chancellor Scholz recently told the Washington Post that the upcoming Vienna talks will be a decisive moment, but that the world powers do not have much time left to negotiate given the swift progress of Iran's nuclear program. Ahead of the Vienna talks, the US decided to make a gesture to Iran. Washington restored a sanctions waiver that allows Russian, Chinese, and European companies to work with Iran on civilian nuclear activities. In a joint statement, the UK, Germany, and France said the move will help facilitate technical discussions to support talks on JCPOA in Vienna. The three European nations have worked very closely with the US on the Iran deal. Russia has also offered support, but China has continued to buy Iranian oil and, as one Reuters report termed it, has in the past thrown an economic lifeline to Iran in violation of US sanctions. That said, the US and the E3 know that China and Russia are key to reviving this nuclear deal and putting pressure on Tehran. Thank you so much for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint. Do subscribe to ThePrint and follow us on social media.